Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Mashiach Musings. We are picking up where we left off in Hilchos Melachim, the Rambam, Perek Yud Bet, Halacha Bet, 12, stanza 2. We're in the middle. We had just talked about how the role of the Mashiach is really to bring peace into all, the Prince of Peace in the Jewish person, a fully Jewish perspective, as it says, "Ve'shiv levavot al banim," right? That families will be harmonious once again. We know not so pashut, but the big family of the Jewish people, generations of Jews, and so on and so forth. And obviously, in the world itself, we'll see a period of peace. A final period of peace and harmony. V'yesh min hachachamim, he says, we're in the middle, right after the word banim. V'yesh min hachachamim she'omrim shekodem bias haMashiach yavo Eliyahu. There are those that say that before the Mashiach comes, Elijah, the prophet, will come. V'chol elu advarim v'chayotz ben lo yeda adam eich yiyu ad sheyiyu. He says something really important, right? As much as like Eliyahu and Navi, and we hear stories of Elijah the prophet, all of us have our own, kind of stories, unique instances where something incredible happened. Perhaps, maybe we do, maybe we don't. I don't know. I have some cool stories. And it's like, who was that? And we just don't know. The Gemara talks about Eliyahu kind of floating around, so to speak, whatever that means. Hard to understand. I mean, there's a Gemara, and we'll get to this a little bit later. There's a Gemara that says that Mashiach is born in every generation. And I mentioned, I think, in one of the previous videos. And there's a Gemara that talks about how he was sitting, where's Mashiach? He's sitting in Rome, right? This is after the exile, Roman exile. He's sitting in Rome, and he's like, sitting in tattered rags in the town square, and the people weren't worthy for him to come. If only we would have recognized him, and so on and so forth. You have Hasidic stories like this. The reality is, says the Rambam, we don't know. We don't know, right? We see things happening before our eyes, no question, but we don't know when and how, right? We have this saying, we say, Reshit tzmichaku latenu, that the creation of Medina Yisrael, of the state of Israel, the restoration of the state of Israel to the Jewish people, is the beginning of the flowering of the redemption. Because who knows when the beginning is? It's the beginning of the flowering. Reshit tzmichat, the beginning of the flowering. Who knows when the flowering is? It's the beginning. Some people say it's the beginning of the beginning. Gama, and everyone talks about it. We just don't know. Shedvar stumin heinetzol neviim. The prophets, talk about it, but do we really understand? We talked about the metaphors that the prophets talk about, but do we really understand exactly how, when? And so if you're looking for those answers, you're not going to find them here. Even the wise men, the sages, they don't have a tradition on this. Different people say different things. Rather, they try to look at the verses and try to interpret and try to understand. Therefore, there are many opinions about this. You can look in the Gemara Sanhedrin if you're interested in this. The last parak of Masechet Sanhedrin is called Chelek. It's a famous parak, Chelek, and it's all Agadata. It's all these different stories. There's a lot of Mashiach talk. Mashiach, this is what his name's going to be. It's the name of it'll be his name because that person's Rebbe's name was that. It'll be his name because that person's Rebbe was that. It'll be this name because that person's Rebbe was that. This will happen before. That'll happen before. We don't know. We don't know. Pandemic, unprecedented. Unprecedented. I don't know what happened 100 some odd years ago, right? This one unprecedented, maybe. Is it unprecedented that we have a cure of this vaccine this fast? Yeah, right. Could be, right. I'd love it to be. I want it to be. We think of it. We don't know. I remember the when it comes to questions like this, these big questions. Why? Rabbi Rubenstein, Zechron Levracha, the rabbi. If you didn't know him, the rabbi before me, just an incredible person, incredible man, and he told it like it. He would tell it like it is, And someone, I remember a terrible tragedy happened in the community during his time, and person who the tragedy happened to, lost a child, a terrible nebuch, and she said that, oh, someone came into the shiva and said, this is why he died, and this is what happened, and this is why it happened. It wasn't even like some Mikubal or some, Kabbalah. It was a rabbi. Well, the Gemara says this. And she's, is this true? Could this be? And Rabbi Rubinstein said, wait a minute. Was that person a Navi? Did a Navi walk into the Shiva? We don't have prophecy. He's not a prophet. They didn't even have prophecy in the time of the base of Hanukkah. That's whether the great miracle of Hanukkah was that Hashem, made this miracle to show, look, I'm still here, even though there are no prophets. We don't have prophecy now. He knows. Come on. We don't know. And it's inappropriate. You can't ascribe things because you think maybe based on, come on. And that's the Rambam is saying. We don't know. V'al kol panim, ein siddur havayat dvarim elu v'lo diktukem ikar badat. He says, yes, there's a machlokas about this. Yes, the Gemara talks about it. Yes, the Psukim and Navi talk about it in cryptic fashion. And it's very important to know that figuring this out, when it's going to be, are not the Ikar of our religion. They cannot be the essential fabric of what our religion is, messianism. That gets us into trouble, right? We saw it, unfortunately, we saw it in the, after the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Zecher Tzadik Livracha, died, messianism, what that does, right? We see it. We saw it way back, right? In other times, Shabtai Tzvi, Lahavdil, obviously between a great tzaddik and a charlatan like Shabtai Tzvi. That can't be the Ikar. That can't. Well, Olam, right? And you go back even further than Shabtai Tzvi, right? You have the Christianity, right? I mean, that's not it. Olam lo yitasek adam divrei ha'agadot. Don't busy yourself with this. I don't know. Would the Rambam be annoyed that we have a weekly WhatsApp that's called Mashiach Musings? That's why I called it Musings. We're just musing about it. We're not saying this is my Judaism, the meat and potatoes. It's not the meat and potatoes of Judaism. It's not. It's the salt. It's the pepper. These are fun, nice, cool things to think about. But no, What's it about? Judaism's about every day. It's about the day to day. At Akef Zachatas Avaboker, waking up in the morning, putting on our tefillin, davening, saying brachos, raising Jewish homes, living Jewish lives, Jewish values, lighting the menorah, etc. Our minhagim, all of those things. That adds the richness and beauty. This is cool stuff. That's the way I would describe it. Don't get too far into this, because it'll lead you down a bad path. And the Rambam is talking before Shabtai Tzvi, right? And really just the calamity that he brought upon the Jews of Europe at the time, getting everyone excited. German Jews throughout Europe selling their land, moving to Israel, and then Shabtai Tzvi converts to Islam, right? This is before that, right? We know the messianic sects that existed in Israel at the time of the destruction of the Second Temple. One of them, they were called the Nazarenes, and then they became the Christians. Don't go there. It leads us down a bad path. V'lo yisimei mikar. Don't make these things essential. Yeah, I have a few prakim about it, says the Rambam, at the end of the Mishnah Torah, but don't make this the Ikar, the main aspect of the main thrust of your Judaism, your Jewish practice and life. She'ein mevin lo lidei yira v'lo lidei ava. It doesn't bring you to fear God more. It doesn't bring you to love God more. It brings you to think. Definitely brings us to think and muse and hope. Right, and have that be in that space of ani mamin be'emunah shalema, v'chein lo yechashiv hakitzin, and don't try to figure out exactly when it's going to happen. Right? Oh, some say it'll happen at this time, and it says this year, and so on. Amru chachamim tipach rucham shel machash ve'akitzim. The rabbi said, he says that the spirit of those who try to figure out when the end of days is coming, it should be swallowed up. Tipach rucham. The exact English is, the spirit of those calculated will expire, right? Not a good thing. Rather, what should we do? Ela yechakeh. Rather, we should wait. We should hope. We should believe. V'ya'amin bichlal hadavar kemoshe ve'arnu. And believe in the hope of that thing, just as we've explained. That's an Ikar of Judaism. To be able to, during the height of darkness, to be able to sing L'shana Haba Yerushalayim at a Pesach Seder in the Warsaw Ghetto, at a Pesach Seder in, during the Spanish Inquisition, at a Pesach Seder in the frozen tundra, like it's frozen outside right now, in the snow, in the frozen tundra of Ukraine somewhere in, Tsarist, communist, Russia. Obviously, there are different time periods, I know. That's the issue. That's the issue. It's about hope. It's about belief, right? And that's what sustained us. After every Yom Kippur, to say Lashana Haba Yerushalayim, to say Ani Ma'amin Be'emunah Shlema B'Vias HaMashiach. Someone asked me, and I'll finish with this, what the most impactful spot for me, inspiring spot, deep emotional and inspiring spot in Poland. I went on 2 heritage trips to Poland. What is it? For me, it's the Lupachova Forest. Because the Lupachova Forest is giant forest. We were there in the summertime. It's beautiful outside. And you're thinking, right, literally, it was like 20, 30,000 souls, bodies are buried there, with souls died there in this forest with these beautiful, majestic trees. And we sing a Kel Male Rachamim that literally I felt like pierced the heavens. But we know that on the way to the Lupachova Forest, there was a group of Jews who knew they were on their way to a certain fate in unmarked graves. And what did they do? They sang the Hatikva. This is before the creation of the state of Israel, where Petach Tikva, right, was starting. That's the settlement in Israel. It's now a city, and they coined this song Hatikva as an anthem, and they sang it on their way to Lupachova Forest to be murdered in unmarked graves. And someone who was there was thought to be dead, and when they fell in the pit, whatever, he escaped, came to Israel. I think he became a member of Knesset even afterwards. And to this day, Israeli soldiers go there in full dress uniform, and they do a tekes every year, and they sing Hatikva, and they say, we made it. We did it. That's what it is to live Judaism in this kind of way. Yechakeh v'ya'amin. Think about it, hope for it, but do the day-to-day of what it means truly to be a Torah-observant Jew who loves and has an awe of God and brings that into his family every single day. Have a great one.